Welcome to the Heartbreak Chronicles, where every story is a raw reflection of life. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned, give us a like to show your support, and share this episode with your friends. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think. Now, let's dive into today's story. My name is Oliver Evans, and I am a construction engineer. My job requires me to travel a lot to visit projects around the world. Despite my busy schedule, I love my wife Amelia dearly. Every time he returns from a business trip, he brings her a carefully selected gift. Today, I am once again on a business trip. I was sitting on the airplane, looking out the window at the sea of clouds, and my thoughts drifted to faraway places. I hope this business trip is over soon, I murmured in my mind. When I get back, I'll be sure to spend some time with Amelia. Upon arrival at my destination, I checked into an oceanfront hotel. There's a balcony overlooking the entire bay, and the sea breeze brushes my face with a salty scent. I stood on my balcony and looked at the cruise ships moored in the distance. How nice it would be to enjoy such a view with Amelia. As night fell, I returned to my room. Turning on the TV, I wanted to see today's news. Suddenly, a breaking news story caught my attention. Last night, a fire broke out offshore on the cruise ship, Star of the Seas. But fortunately, it was extinguished in time and there were no casualties. The news anchor's voice came over the TV. My eyes were firmly drawn to the screen. The camera focused on the escaping passengers, and one of the figures froze me in place momentarily. Amelia! I couldn't believe my eyes. The image shows a woman who bears a striking resemblance to Amelia crawling out of a lifeboat in a state of disarray. She was clad in nothing but a bathrobe and looked very flustered. What shocked me even more was that right behind her was my best friend, Nathan. Nathan was similarly unclothed, wearing only a pair of shorts. The two looked as if they had just escaped from their beds. I felt a wave of vertigo as my brain raced, trying to come up with a plausible explanation for what was happening in front of me. But no matter how much I think about it, I can't convince myself that it's just a coincidence. Amelia should be at home. Why is she on this cruise ship? And with Nathan, too? Trembling, I picked up my cell phone and dialed Amelia's number. The phone rang for a long time, so long that I almost gave up when someone finally answered. Hello? Amelia's voice sounded a little tired. Amelia, it's me. I tried to control my emotions. Where are you? There was silence on the other end of the line for a few seconds, and then Amelia answered. I'm at home. What's wrong, Oliver? I took a deep breath and asked bluntly, Are you sure? I just saw you on the news, on the Star of the Sea. Silence fell on the other end of the line again, this time even longer than before. Finally, Amelia spoke up, a tremor in her voice. Oliver, I can explain. Explain what? My voice went cold. Explain why you were on that cruise ship with Nathan? Explain why you two look like you just got out of bed? Oliver, listen to me. Amelia's voice was tinged with sobs. It's not what you think. But I don't want to hear any more about it. I hung up and then immediately dialed Nathan's number. Hey Oliver, man. Nathan's voice sounded a little frazzled. What's up? Nathan. My voice was low and dangerous. I'm giving you one chance to tell me where you are right now. Nathan stammered out a reply. I'm home, why? Really? I sneered. Then why did I see on the news that you escaped from the Star of the Sea with Amelia? There was a rustling on the other end of the line, as if Nathan was moving. After a moment, he said carefully, Oliver, let me explain. I don't need your explanation. I roared, You two betrayed me. What else is there to explain? When I hung up, I felt a wave of emptiness and pain I had never felt before. I sat on the edge of the bed with my hands over my face, crying silently. 10 years of marriage, destroyed like this? Amelia and I used to be so in love, and we have 2 lovely children. What was once a happy and blissful family is now in tatters. I stood up and walked out onto the balcony. Outside, the night was deep, and the lights of a distant cruise ship swayed on the sea as if they spoke of the pain I felt inside. I knew that from this moment on, my life would change forever. But little did I know that this was just the beginning of a series of changes I was about to face. Over the next few days, I will uncover more hidden truths, go through more trials, and eventually rediscover your own happiness. As for me, I was just standing on the balcony of the hotel, looking out at the dark sea and the cruise ships in the distance, pondering how to face this harsh reality. My heart was filled with anger, sadness, and confusion, but I knew that I had to be strong in the face of it all. No matter what the future holds, I'm going to be brave for myself and for my children. That night, my world came crashing down. Watching the images of Amelia and Nathan's woeful escape on TV, I felt my heart being torn to pieces. But I knew I had to calm down and find out the truth. Early the next morning, I canceled my original work schedule and decided to return home immediately. On the plane, my mind kept replaying last night, trying to figure out any details that I might have missed, but every time I look back, it only makes my heart ache more. When I landed, I went straight to the headquarters of the Star of the Sea cruise line. As an experienced engineer, I know how to deal with large companies. I was confident that if I acted professionally and resolutely enough, I would get the information I wanted. "Hello, I'm Oliver Evans," I said to the receptionist, displaying my work credentials. "I need to review the security footage from last night's Star of the Sea." The receptionist looked a little hesitant. "Sir, this may require approval from the higher-ups." I interrupted her. "This is about a possible case of insurance fraud. If you don't cooperate, I may have to report it to the authorities." There was a hint of threat in my tone, and it seemed to work. Within half an hour, I was sitting in the company's surveillance room with footage from the night of the incident playing on the screen in front of me. I scrutinized every frame and finally spotted Amelia in the cruise ship's cafe. To my surprise, she wasn't alone. Nathan was indeed with her, but there were two other people, a man and a woman, who looked like a couple. I continued to observe and realized that the four men seemed to be engaged in some sort of heated discussion. Suddenly, Amelia stood up with an angry look on her face and turned away. Nathan follows close behind, looking like he's trying to calm her down. My heart sank. Although there is no direct evidence in the video of what happened to them, but the scene speaks volumes. I continued to watch the video and noticed that Amelia and Nathan left the cafe and headed straight for the deck. They argued there for a while, then Nathan seemed to say something to calm Amelia down. Afterward, they went back to Amelia's room together. I requested a copy of the footage and left the cruise line. I need to confront Amelia and show her the evidence. When she got home, Amelia was sitting in the living room, looking haggard. When she saw me enter, she immediately stood up with mixed emotions in her eyes. "Oliver," she whispered, "we need to talk." I didn't respond to her. I just silently walked over to the TV and inserted the flash drive with the surveillance footage. "Look at this," I said coldly, "and tell me what else you have to explain." Amelia's face turned pale as she watched the image on the screen. She saw herself arguing with Nathan in the cafe, saw them going back to their room together. "Oliver, I don't know what to say," Amelia choked out, "but it's really not what you think. Nathan and we were just discussing something." "Discuss?" I sneered. "Need to discuss it in your room late into the night? Need to escape unclothed from a burning cruise ship?" Amelia lowered her head as tears began to pool in her eyes. "Oliver, I admit I did wrong. But Nathan, he told me that you've been spending a lot of time with other women while you've been traveling." In a moment of confusion, I felt a wave of anger well up in me. "So you took Nathan at his word instead of choosing to believe your husband? Amelia, after all the years we've been together, you don't even know me?" I pointed to the screen. "Look at this. This is what you're doing. And me? I'm thousands of miles away working hard for our family. You choose to take the word of a liar and then betray me?" Amelia looked at the screen and suddenly realized something. I really misunderstood you, Oliver. I was so stupid." "Yes, you are so stupid," I said bitterly. "I never betrayed you, Amelia. And you, on the other hand, chose to betray me." Amelia broke down and fell to her knees in tears. "Oliver, I was wrong. I really was. Please forgive me and give me a chance." Watching my once beloved wife in such a sorry state, I have mixed feelings in my heart. But I know that once something happens, it can never be undone. "Amelia," I take a deep breath. "I think we need some time apart. You'd better move out." Amelia looked up, unable to believe what she was hearing. "Oliver, you can't do this. We have children." The children will know the truth, I said firmly, and they have a right to know what their mother did. Now, please pack up and leave. Watching Amelia lose her mind as she went upstairs to pack her bags, I felt a wave of exhaustion I'd never felt before. I went to the window and looked out. At one time, it was filled with our family's laughter, and now the home was so cold and strange. I know that starting today, my life will change forever. But I also know that I have to be strong for whatever the future holds. I must be brave and move on for my own sake and for the sake of my children. Even if the blood is still dripping inside, even if the road ahead is full of unknowns, I have to keep going. Because I understand that only through such a storm can I truly know how to cherish and find my own happiness. And at that moment, I just stood quietly in front of the window, looking at the gradually darkening sky, contemplating the impermanence of life and the fragility of love. I know that this is just the beginning of a new chapter in my life, and I, for one, am ready for the challenges ahead. Whatever awaits me ahead, I will face it with courage, because I believe that after weathering this storm, I will be able to find my own piece of clear sky. The day after Amelia left, I got a call from my daughter, Emily. "Dad, what happened?" "I just got a call from my mom, and she's crying so hard she can't speak." I took a deep breath and realized it was time to face the kids. "Emily, can you come home? We need to talk." "Okay, Dad. I'll be right back from college," Emily said and hung up. A few hours later, Emily pushed open the door to the house. "Daddy, what's wrong?" Worry and confusion were written all over her face. I gestured for her to sit down and then began to recount the news I had seen on my business trip and all that had ensued. Emily listened quietly, her eyes gradually widening, clearly shocked by the sudden news. "No way." Emily suddenly interrupted me. "How could Mom? There must be some kind of misunderstanding." I laughed bitterly and shook my head, then turned on the TV and played the security footage I'd gotten from the cruise line. Emily stared intently at the screen as she watched her mother enter the room with Nathan. I can't believe it," Emily murmured, tears starting to well up in her eyes. "How could Mom do this to us?" Just then, my son Alex pushed open the door and walked in. He had just gotten back from a friend's house and obviously didn't know what was going on. Seeing Emily crying, he was immediately alert. "What's wrong? What happened?" I recounted the whole incident again, and Alex's expression changed from confusion to anger. "Uncle Nathan? I knew he was no good," Alex said through gritted teeth. "What do you mean?" Emily and I asked at the same time. Alex explained, "Last month, I saw Uncle Nathan at the mall with a young girl. They seemed close, but at the time I thought it might be his niece or something. Now that I think about it, I felt a wave of nausea. It looks like Nathan not only lied to Amelia, but to all of us." Emily stood up suddenly. "I'm going to go find Mom. We need to hear her explanation." "Wait," I stopped her. "Your mom is staying at a hotel in town right now. We should give her some time to calm down." Alex said coldly, "Why should we give her time? She betrayed our entire family. She doesn't deserve any sympathy." I look at my son and feel both proud and heartbroken. He became so strong, but at the same time lost some of his innocence. "Alex," I said softly, "no matter what happens, she will always be your mother. We can be angry and disappointed in her behavior, but we shouldn't completely dismiss her as a mother." Emily nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "Daddy's right. We need to calm down and then decide what to do next." Over the next few days, all three of us struggled to adjust to this new reality. Emily took a temporary leave of absence from college to stay home with me. Alex became more reticent and was often alone in his room. About a week later, Amelia called and asked to see the children. Emily agrees, but Alex refuses to see her. "Are you sure you don't want to go?" I asked Alex. He shook his head. "I don't want to see her yet. I'm afraid I'll say something I'll regret." I patted him on the shoulder understandingly. "It's okay. Take as much time as you need." Emily went to see Amelia alone. When she came back, she had a complicated and indistinguishable look on her face. "Mom says she regrets it," Emily said softly. "She says she was fooled by Nathan into thinking you were on a business trip too. You know. But she knows now that it was all a lie." I laughed bitterly and shook my head. Once trust is broken, It's hard to rebuild. Emily nodded. I told my mom that we all needed time. I don't know if I can forgive her, but she is my mother after all. I hugged Emily and was proud of her maturity. A few days later, Alex finally decides to see Amelia. When he returned, his eyes were a little red, but his expression was much calmer. I told my mom I needed time, Alex said, but I wouldn't turn her down forever. I just need to get to know her again. I felt a surge of relief. Despite such a storm, my children showed amazing maturity and wisdom. Over time, we began to reconstruct our family life. Although Amelia no longer lives with us, the children are gradually beginning to rebuild their relationship with her. We learned to find balance in our new surroundings. One night, Emily and Alex offered to talk to me. Dad, Emily spoke up, we wanted to tell you how proud we are of you. You've remained sane and considerate in such a difficult situation. Alex went on to say, yes, you taught us how to maintain our dignity in the face of adversity. We decided to stay with you not only because you were a victim, but because you showed true strength. Their words moved me beyond words. I opened my arms and hugged my children tightly. In that moment, I felt a deep sense of love and hope. Even though our family has gone through a huge change, I believe that if we support each other and understand each other, we will eventually find new happiness. The road ahead may be long and many challenges await us, but I know that as long as we stick together, there is nothing we cannot overcome. I felt a twinge of relief watching Emily and Alex be strong. The storm destroyed our old family structure, but it also made us appreciate each other more. We may have lost the past, but we have won a stronger future. In this process of rebuilding, each of us grows and learns how to forgive and trust again. While the hurt may never fully go away, I believe that we become stronger and more appreciative of the things that really matter. Time flies and 2 years have passed. The lives of each of us have changed dramatically in the past 2 years. I decided to re-examine my life after that storm. I quit my job as an engineer, where I was always on the move, and opened a small architectural consulting firm. This has allowed me to spend more time with my kids and given me more freedom to pursue my interests. I met Annie one day when I was working at a coffee shop in town. She is the owner of this coffee shop, a gentle and strong woman. We talked for a long time and realized we had a lot in common with each other. Slowly, we started dating and eventually became partners. Annie understands my past hurts and has been a great source of support and comfort. Emily, my daughter, has now graduated from college and is working for a well-known architectural firm. She inherited my love of architecture, but is more artistically gifted than I am. Watching her confidently present her design solution made me feel incredibly proud. Alex, my son, chose a different path. He is now studying psychology and hopes to help people like us who have experienced family trauma in the future. He said our family's experience made him realize the importance of mental health. As for Amelia, our relationship has gradually shifted from initial anger and bitterness to a calm detachment. She now works in a small restaurant and is trying to rebuild her life. Although we are no longer married, we learned how to be friendly for the sake of our children. One day, Emily told me she was getting married. Her fiancé is a classmate she met in college, a solid, reliable young man. When Emily asked me if I would hold her hand down the aisle at my wedding, I was moved beyond words. On the day of the wedding, I had a strange feeling inside when I saw Amelia sitting at the guest table. There was a time when we stood as hopeful as Emily and her groom at their wedding. Life is so full of irony. But as I held Emily's hand and walked toward the wedding stage, I felt nothing but happiness and pride. My daughter is grown and about to embark on her own journey. As I handed Emily's hand to her groom, I whispered, "Take care of her and cherish your relationship." After the wedding, Alex crept up on me. "Dad," he said, "I'm so happy for Emily to see her so happy. But at the same time, I'm thinking about you and Mom." I put my arm around Alex's shoulders. "Life is always full of surprises, son. It's how we deal with those surprises and how we learn and grow from them that matters. Your mom and I are no longer together, but we both love you. That will never change." Alex nodded, tears glistening in her eyes. "I understand, Dad. I hope that one day I'll find true love and be able to hold on to it." I smiled and said, "You will, Alex. You are much stronger than you think. Shortly after the wedding, I heard about Nathan through a mutual friend. This once sassy and charismatic man has come to a tragic end. Supposedly, after betraying our friendship and my marriage, Nathan's life started going downhill. He indulges in a life of paperwork and is constantly involved with different women. Eventually, he contracted an incurable sexually transmitted disease. When I heard the news, I was filled with mixed emotions: anger, sadness, pity, even a hint of pleasure at having gotten his revenge. All these feelings were intertwined. Nathan passed away. Our mutual friend Tom told me he suffered greatly in the last months of his life. I'm told he talked about you and Amelia a lot, saying he made the biggest mistake of his life. I was silent for a long time, not knowing how to respond. On the one hand, I couldn't forgive Nathan for the damage he had done to my family. On the other hand, I felt a pang of sadness at seeing a former friend end up in such a state. The irony of life, I concluded, is that he hurt so many people and ended up hurting himself. Tom nodded. Yeah, what happened to him was a wake-up call for us all. Betrayal and indulgence, while they may bring a brief moment of pleasure, are so costly in the end. The news weighed on my heart like a heavy stone. I thought of all those times we had spent together, all those friendships that I thought would never betray me. Now it's all in the past and Nathan is gone from this world forever. That night, I broke the news to Emily and Alex. Their reactions were as mixed as mine. He deserved it, Alex said angrily. He hurt our whole family. Emily, on the other hand, looked even sadder. Even though I can't forgive him, it's too sad to end like this. I wrapped my arms around my boys. There is no absolute right or wrong in life. Nathan paid the price for his choices. All we can do is learn from it, appreciate what we have, and be kind to those around us. This event touched our family deeply. We appreciate each other more and realize the importance of honesty and loyalty. Life moves on. Emily's career flourished, and she began to gain recognition for her design work in the industry. Alex successfully completed her education and began working at a counseling center. It is incredibly gratifying to watch children find their own path in life. My relationship with Annie is also becoming more stable. We ran that little coffee shop together, and every day was filled with laughter. Annie's understanding and positivity infected me and helped me find joy in life again. One day, while we were busy together in a coffee shop, Annie suddenly asked me, "Oliver, have you ever regretted anything?" I stopped what I was doing and looked at her seriously. Regret what? Regret? Having gone through so much. If you could do it all over again, would you choose a different path? I thought for a moment, then smiled and said, "No, I have no regrets. Every choice, every experience, has shaped the person I am now. Without all that pain, I might never have met you, nor would I be in such a peaceful state of mind as I am now." Annie holds my hand, tears glistening in her eyes. "I'm glad you think so, because I don't regret meeting you either, even if you carry the pain of your past." It was at that moment that I felt true happiness. Life has given me a second chance, and I cherish every second of it. Looking back, I realized that life is like a complex chronicle. There was laughter, tears, betrayal, and redemption. Each page is a testimony to our growth, and each chapter is an accumulation of our lives. We can't change the past, but we can choose how to face the future. Through forgiveness, through understanding, through love, we can heal the wounds, rebuild trust, and find our own happiness. Now, as I stand behind the counter of the coffee shop, watching Annie serve customers with a smile and the happiness that spreads across Emily and Alex's faces during their occasional visits, I know that I've finally found my inner peace. Life goes on and I'm ready for every challenge ahead. Because I know that no matter what happens, as long as we have hope and love in our hearts, nothing can really break us. This is my story, a chronicle of loss, rebirth, and hope. Perhaps it will give some insight to those who are going through a difficult time. No matter how dark the night, the dawn will eventually come. It is important that we have the courage to move on, the wisdom to learn from the past, and the love to embrace new possibilities. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.